I grew up on a diet of cereal with marshmallows and Saturday morning cartoons, back when that term used to mean something. I grew up on a street in the middle of no man's land where the neighbors all had farmers' stands and watched NASCAR. There were no kids with dark skin on my street, and if there had, they would have been lumped into the same category as the boy across the road who liked boys more than boys were told they should. No, we were only to wrestle in the dirt and pull pigtails, and occasionally find our friend's dad's stash of the kind of magazines with centerfolds. And never question the validity of the high-gloss images depicted on that high-gloss paper. There was a path that was laid out for us, a path that was predetermined to be right. It contained beer and Sunday football, and 40-hour work week 9 to 5. Acceptable was a word for things that were red, white, and blue, on Sunday wore a tie, and only laughed at sexist jokes in the presence of other guys. There were no queers allowed within the doors of our local houses of worship, not a soul who wasn't straight and white. We wouldn't want them to corrupt the innocence of the children feeling each other up on the pews in the back. Jesus was a blond white man with a funny name who came back from the dead to ask us to have bake sales for the starving kids in Africa. He would cry if you touched yourself, but it was cool as long as he hated fags and voted Republican. The only thing black about the churches in town was the signs advertising services on Sunday morning from 9 to 11. Bring your checkbook to be absolved of your sins and salary alike. Then return to your 3-bedroom, 2-bath cell for another week of raising hell. Maybe crack open a Tulwyn or 6 to wash the taste of hymns out of your mouth. Rinse and repeat the cycle ad nauseum for a decade or so, and then you're on your own. Maybe if you were lucky, you'd go to college so you could work in a small cube lost in a sea of other small cubes. Or if you were everyone else, you wouldn't. And you wouldn't know or care what you were missing because you had 100 channels of cable TV to numb your brain and tell you where to spend your money. The important thing was that you smoked so you looked cool and you could drink your way to a good time and drove a fast car for all the tail you'd be chasing. And don't even think of bringing home a girl who isn't slender and white for Christmas dinner. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and the beholder is an aging obese man who likes to look at young women and imagine what they look like in their underwear. God forbid if your partner of choice isn't a size 4 and an 8 on a scale of 1 to 10, or worse, if your partner has a noticeable Adam's apple and happens to need a daily shave. God's great book was real clear that life insurance benefits are the domain of heterosexual couples and legal status too. He hates gayness of all kinds, unless you're just watching a little girl on girl sometimes, as long as it's the worst you do. Messages from the pulpit have long since let us know that a man who loved another man didn't command any respect and should only raise eyebrows, not children. So I raise the notion that opinions can be thin as tulle, even for men of the cloth, and maybe you can go to heaven regardless whether you love guns and oil. Maybe the God who sends gays to hell doesn't actually exist, never did in fact. Perchance he's more concerned with the state of your heart than a sordid sexual act. Just maybe when God looks at each of us, he doesn't see us for what we've done. Maybe he sees our potential and our greatness yet to come. Perhaps the beauty he breathed into us at the moment of birth is what he sees, a beauty at our core. Maybe we love who we love, and simply nothing more. Or maybe he sees our aspects, our love, our hope, our grace. Maybe it's how we love each other that brings a smile to our Father's face. For all the times you've been made to feel that your worth is somehow less than someone else, because of how you speak or walk or the way that you hold yourself. In those moments you're told that ugliness and sin, that something dirty and wrong is all your heart holds within. Us straight guys don't hold a monopoly in love. Finding a soul with which to tie yours is quite a gem, because who we love isn't as important as how well we love them.